if you put in the work, if you put your head down and you identify what is your objective and why you're in this industry, what are you in it for? The bar, there is no bar, right? The ceiling is limitless, and so go for it. Work hard. Make sure you surround yourself with great mentors, and you'll certainly be another success story to our industry.
Hello, and welcome to the Elevator Careers Podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group. I am your host, Matt Allred. In this podcast, we talk to the people whose lives and careers are dedicated to the vertical transportation industry to inform and share lessons learned, building upon the foundation of those who have gone before to inspire the next generation of elevator careers. Today, our guest is Victor Rosario, Chief Executive Officer of United Vertical Group and co-founder of United Cabs in New York City. Victor started in the industry while still in college and found that he has both a knack and a passion for the industry. Victor's passion drives him to continually improve and to go above and beyond to create customers for life. Victor, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great. Great to see you again. I'm looking forward to our conversation today, and so thank you for being here.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, same here.
Yeah. So let's start at the beginning, and I'm just curious what brought you into the elevator industry in the first place?
Yeah. So it was interesting. I was in college and working my high school job still at a supermarket, probably like many of your listeners, and I had my brother-in-law that was running a cab company at that time. Okay. I was dating his sister, and I got introduced to him, and then he pulled me in. He wanted for me to do purchasing, which was a phenomenal start for me in the industry because it's one of the few ways you can quickly learn many aspects of my particular niche in manufacturing cabs and components. And so that's pretty much how I got started. It was through family.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. And that happens quite a bit, as we know, in the elevator industry. So purchasing, were you working directly with customers, or was it more just kind of, hey, read this print or read this PO, or how did that work?
Yeah, it was basically the procurement department for that particular organization, which was a startup within itself. And, my brother-in-law and co-founder ended up rising through the ranks, got a managerial position here to run the manufacturing operation for the firm. And it was literally creating that operation from the ground up. And so I was one of his first hires in him growing that department. And he brought me in to just solely do procurement. So I was in touch with, mostly vendors at that time. I had to break down different sets of drawings to identify what materials, what sizes, et cetera. And like I said earlier, it was a phenomenal way to really dig in and learn the industry.
Sounds like a little bit of a trial by fire, just kind of learning parts from a drawing, and you probably quickly learned how it all comes together and what's important, right?
Yeah, I was a quick learner, but I really have to give it to him and the supporting cast at that time, because we were all in a communal office. Essentially, it was one office for him, myself, and our project manager at the time. And it was, I had easy access to him, and just reaching out and saying, "Hey, what's this? And how would you go about that?" So he was really a great teacher, and ultimately, it's, I believe, why we function so well as partners as well.
That's cool. So how long did you do that job, or did you kind of bounce back out? And I mean, I think you said you were going to school, and at the time, it probably didn't think you would land there very long.
Yeah, you know what? I got to say that it was super exciting for me to get involved with what I saw immediately as soon as I got in as a growing company. And so I was going to college, and I was going through some family stuff. My father, unfortunately, had passed away recently. And so I was trying to find my own path. And I was there for about a year and a half, almost two. Unfortunately, I ended up leaving. I had some run-ins with ownership at that time there, but the way life has it, it kind of turned me into a different organization, a different path, entirely different industry, which really spurred my entrepreneurial spirit. working with this other company outside of this industry kind of showed me the path to what my passion was, which is ultimately how I full circle came back into the industry, but more so as a future owner of a company.
Very cool. How long were you outside the industry before you came back in?
I'm going to say I left when I was about 21, and I came back in about 25. So about 4 years. I was in the financial services industry, in different areas. And then, unfortunately, when 08, 07, 08 happened, the financial crisis, my brother-in-law had already started and partnered up with someone else to start their own venture.
Right.
And he brought me in because he thought I would be good for sales at that time. So here we go again, right? He loops me back in. And long story short, in 2010, things weren't working out with that partnership, but we had cemented a pretty good brand and notoriety in the industry, and so him and I ventured out and founded United Cabs.
Very cool. Very cool. So and that time you've come to stay, correct? You after that little short detour.
Yeah, absolutely. Now it's we have about 13. We're going on our 13th year as an organization. I mean, who would have said it? I was about 26, going on 27 at that time. So, about to hit 40.
Yeah.
So it sounds like I am younger in the spectrum of things, but at the same time, it's been 13 years. So a little bit over a decade, and it's been such a fun ride. There's no greater industry to be able to strap your boots, put in the work, learn your craft, and then you'll see where this takes you. And so I think myself, my brother-in-law, we're true testament of that.
Yeah, that's cool. Tell me more about that. When you said this industry, what is it about the elevator industry that captures your love, your attention?
Yeah, aside from the product, we're obviously on the aesthetic side of the business. I always say to a lot of the potential clients and even contractors that sub us that, as important as putting up rails or, getting that motor going and wiring up your controller, how important those things obviously are to the function of our vertical transportation. The end user experiences it through the aesthetics. And so
Sure.
They judge that installation or that modernization through aesthetics. So it's such a major part of our industry. It's really, at the end of the day, what most projects are judged by. So I think that fuels us, firstly, to be able to go ahead and bring value there. But I also believe that this industry is really a testament to the American dream. My background is one where I'm a first generation immigrant along with my parents.
Right.
I was born in the Caribbean and come from very, very humble beginnings. And so from coming over with my parents and being instilled those true values of hard work through them, and then landing in this industry with the mentality of you're worth what you put in.
Sure.
Certainly speaks volumes to now what we've been able to accomplish through that approach. And so I think that's where through those two items, I think that's where the love and passion for this industry comes from.
That's beautiful. I'm glad you said that, because I agree. The American dream is, I hear at times, oh, it's to buy a home. No, it's really to be your own boss, right? I mean, that's why people come to America, and you've done that, right? You've kind of created your own, which is awesome.
Yeah, in a way, I know a lot of your listeners are either owners themselves, or they're entrepreneurs themselves, or they could be working for one, right? But I think that the opportunity, not just on whether you are an entrepreneur or not in this industry, is more than that. I think it's the fact that you're able to grow to your fullest potential.
Sure.
Without a lot of the red tape potentially that you may find in other industries. And so that's where my love and my passion to bring value and leave some given legacy behind is what drives me, and I believe drives my organization. So we want to give back. We want to give back to the industry that's given us an opportunity.
That's awesome. Yeah. I was talking to a friend just this morning who started as a mechanic and worked his way up, and he's building his own business. And I see that a lot in this industry. And having worked in other industries, I see, to your point, there's seems to be more hurdles, but here it seems like, no, you learn it, you work hard, you know your stuff, and you can do it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's a beautiful thing for sure.
Yeah, I think a lot of other professionals in other industries, they may tout that for theirs, but I think is tried and proven here. So many stories that you've covered of individuals that say the same, and I think throughout, anybody that comes in, they leave with that at a minimum. If they happen to leave the industry, I think they leave with the fact knowing that, hey, it might have not worked out for me, but if I've seen and I know of those that truly were passionate about it and how they were able to grow from within. So I think that's a beautiful thing for us.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I do think it gets in people's blood, and maybe it's that dream, maybe it's the relationships, and it's probably a little bit of both, right? There's so many aspects.
Yeah. It's funny, right? I think that a running joke is usually, once you get into the elevator industry, there's no going back, right? You usually turn into a lifer. And so, so many of these long-term relationships that I hold within the industry are from individuals that were lifers, and those were the ones that groomed me and groomed my core team, or came into the industry at the same time that I did, and now we're all lifers. So. Something to be said about that.
Yeah, it is. It's a special place, and I think that's one of the big reasons I like to talk to people like yourself, people who work in this industry, because having worked in other industries, I don't find the camaraderie. I don't find the just the lifelong friendships. Even if you're at a different company, I can still call so and so 20 years later.
Right.
That to me is always, I don't know. It's just inspiring and kind of unheard of in my previous experience.
Yeah, I always joke with folks, which is, it truly is such a large industry, but at the same time, it's so small when you speak to the relationships that are built. And because you have so many lifers, quote unquote, it ends up being a smaller industry than that meets the eye, right? Because you have all these lifers that are around for decades and sometimes generations, and so it feels like, hey, we've seen each other before, or we've known each other for many years, and so it's not as transient as others, and therefore it feels that much more cohesive, I believe.
True. One, you probably know a lot of the same people, so you can strike up a conversation pretty easy. That's awesome.
Well, that's how we met, right? So
exactly. Yeah. So looking forward, what do you see your company providing that gets you out of bed every day and inspires you to continue?
Yeah, going back to what I said earlier about this passion to create value and leave a legacy in the industry. We went from founding 13 years ago, that little engine that could within the industry, specifically within the tri-state area, as a cab manufacturer, and now we have essentially three organizations: United Cabs, United Vertical Group, primarily, and United Metals. United Cabs, United Metals are manufacturers. United Vertical Group really is the legacy company in my eyes. Although newly created, it is the one that is in our efforts going to create the most value. So in the near future, our eyes are set on bringing forth a new way of conducting business with our specific niche as a supplier, where United Vertical Group represents manufacturing firms. We've started off obviously with the two that are within our own here, and we're looking to bring that business model across the U.S. And so we're super excited as we're bringing in new technologies. We've introduced them already to the industry in the form of VR, virtual reality, where you're able to put on some goggles or even on as a 3D view on your computer, you're capable of diving into your future prospective design or elevator interior. This quarter, we're bringing out our entrance configurator, where you're going to go sales to quote to production in a matter of a few clicks of a mouse. And so we're super pumped about all that. And as an independent manufacturer, that doesn't necessarily have either public or venture capitalist money behind it. We're super excited about what we've been able to do on the tech side, and how we're going to change that for many other independent manufacturers throughout the U.S.
No, that's awesome. I mean, it sounds like certainly technology-wise, there's a lot to be excited about. How so is it other manufacturers that you're approaching then as like in a partnership, or maybe like you say representing them?
Yeah, so locally, obviously, United Cabs, United Metals is being represented by UVG for the local New York market. But soon enough, we are looking to represent other manufacturers in other areas of the country for their respective region. And so UVG will take care of the sales process, project management process, and the engineering process. And so we're bringing forth all these tools where it's not just a kept arms secret within our little dynamic here, but we want to be able to bring that forth throughout the whole U.S.
No, it sounds great. I mean, obviously a very different take on something, I guess, that I've seen before, but certainly creative way to help others at the same time.
Yeah, right. I mean, so often the take is, hey, let me create something that's of great value and is legacy making and keep it from within. But how do you create the biggest impact? How do you give back in the biggest ways? Is by being collaborative. And so we've created this business model that is a win-win in our eyes for all. And at the same time allows us to be able to go ahead and bring forth all this hard effort and ingenuity that we've brought to the table and give back to the entire industry.
Very cool. Yeah. Well, and probably get a lot nicer cabs in certain areas that maybe they didn't have access to some of the tools.
Yeah, that'd be phenomenal. All the time, I get comments on many of our posts on LinkedIn and social media about, hey, I want to be able to, one day bring this design or execute this design down here in some given area where, potentially their only options are to go with modular concepts.
Okay.
So for us, it's going to be phenomenal when we get to see and empower other areas of the country that have been limited to modular concepts, where they now can be catered to in a custom way, just like many of the big cities.
Very cool. I did see a post from Lorene I think it was just yesterday, and I was like, wow, that's amazing, right?
We're very fortunate to have great craftsmen. We're very fortunate to have just an incredible team of passionate individuals, and we're very fortunate to be given opportunities by our entire clientele base to execute on some phenomenal designs. And so we're blessed that way.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying it feels like you're driving up the bar. You're raising the bar
like
in
to
the
think
industry.
So. Like to think so.
Very cool. Very cool. So what would you say to, I don't know, just some advice? I mean, if you could, I don't know, wave your magic wand or share some wisdom with our listeners, what would it be?
Yeah, I mean, for those that are newcomers to the industry, all I can say is welcome and congratulations. Right, you've landed in an industry that is so accommodating, that is full of unbelievable people, so many different unbelievable organizations. And so, if you put in the work, if you put your head down and you identify what is your objective and why you're in this industry, what are you in it for? The bar, there is no bar, right? The ceiling is limitless. And so go for it, work hard, make sure you surround yourself with great mentors, and you'll certainly be another success story to our industry. And, for my fellow entrepreneurs and business owners, Once again, I thank many of them for being around and creating a foundation to allow a first generation immigrant to come in and, a dropout from college, being able to have the opportunity to go ahead and build the business that we've been able to build to date and help so many different families that have contributed here and certainly looking to give back to this industry.
Very cool. Very cool. What, I guess, we're running short on time, but I guess the question I want to end with is, what are some, potential pitfalls that you see people sometimes get into that maybe, hinder their opportunity to really succeed in this industry?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for those that now consider themselves lifers, they may give you all sorts of different answers to that may be very technical. But I think that the biggest pitfall is not having a long-term view, especially for many that maybe come from a different industry. I think obviously those that see this as a ripe opportunity of an industry, their initial views are very long-term. But for those that come in from elsewhere, the biggest pitfall is to think that they're going to come in here, be surrounded with the culture that we just described, and think that you're going to have a immediate win now, or trying to create shortcuts. You create shortcuts by the type of effort that you put in. And so don't fall into the mentality of, I'm going to go ahead and do it faster with less resources than someone, who's been proven. I think you put your head down, you understand that this is long-term, it's going to take a lot of effort, and you do the work. And if you do the work, the fruits, you'll bear of the fruits of this industry.
Yeah. Yeah. And I hear you say, commit to it, right? Jump in, commit to it, and the fruits will come, but don't expect them to just land in your lap day one.
100%. That is the biggest mistake I think you could potentially make within the industry.
Awesome. Victor, thank you for being on today. It's a privilege to talk to you as always, and I wish you the best as you continue to build your business.
Thank you for the opportunity, Matt. Good luck to you as well.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Elevator Careers podcast, sponsored by the Allred Group, a leader in elevator industry recruiting. You can check us out online at elevatorcareers.net. Please subscribe, and until next time, stay safe.